Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters at Morris Media Studios. Today we have something very exciting for you. But for those who are in high anticipation, like me, of our Nation of Islam annual Savior's Day Convention 2022, happy Savior's Day. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is going to be delivering a beautiful, again, highly anticipated address, the Swan Song. You want to know more about it? You may visit noi.org. And please be our guest, and we invite you to show love and support to Minister Farrakhan by donating to our annual Savior's Day gift, Show of Love. I'll put a link in the chat soon, but for right now, I want to let you know that I will be on hiatus from Liberated Sisters from today through March 8th. 15th actually, and sitting in for me is the beautiful, staunch public health advocate that we have in the Nation of Islam Western region. She is Sister Anissa Muhammad. Sister Anissa is going to have so much in store for you. But look, I just need a little break, okay, Liberated Sisters? We have this great this universal actually event taking place with Minister Farrakhan on February 25th is our beginning of Savior's Day weekend, as well as we have a book, an anthology coming out, Repair of the Black Family Anthology. And so with those things, I'm very excited to say that Sister has my back and your backs, and she's going to keep this information train running. And so Sister Anissa will be up to tell us more about what's happening for the next few shows and to feed you well today, along with a guest, Brother Lawrence Muhammad, who is one of our 33 co-authors of Repair of the Black Family. She'll tell you more about what they'll discuss, but first, the Justice Report. In today's Justice Report, you see it there, Justice for Amir Locke and All Stolen Lives. This is a young black man who was gunned down by police during a controversial no-knock warrant. It sparked protests. It has sparked protests and hopefully arrests of those convicted of wrongdoing. Anger and demands for accountability are raging in Minneapolis. What's happening, Minneapolis, Minnesota? Minneapolis, in my humble opinion, you are a sign. Something is happening there with leadership, with the streets. This is coming on the heels of George Floyd, okay? And not only George Floyd, many, many others in that area, Philando Castile. I could call the roll. I won't go there right now, but Justice for Amir Locke and All Stolen Lives, finalcall.com. Please subscribe. Also on the cover, you'll see tucked a little bit there in the left, we were able to be blessed with a special interview, an exclusive interview with Dr. Christina Parks. This fierce, beautiful woman is a cellular a molecular biologist, and we were able to speak to her about COVID-19, and she really called out the contradictions and cleared up the confusions. So that's in this week's Final Call newspaper as well. On page 2, you'll see the Swan Song covered by, I think it's our beautiful Sister Anissa Muhammad, going into what you can expect at this year's Savior's Day. You don't want to miss Minister Farrakhan's message. Also, I would like to point out that Trayvon Martin, 10 years later, I was able to speak to his father, Tracy Martin, and others about what his life as well as death has meant to our community. So that's the Justice Report out of the Final Call newspaper, and I'm going to transition now to a few announcements, very important. We have coming up tonight, we want you to tune in. I think I sent the flyer in. The national spokesperson to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Student Minister Ava Muhammad, is holding a one-day, there it is, boom, thank you, a one-day master class, Keep Your Head Above Water, how to protect your peace. So much going on in terms of mental health, people committing suicide, stress, problems, violence, and the individual across the board. We're suffering, we're having problems, and people are wanting to know what to do about this. And so this one-day master class tonight at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time is for men and women, young and old. So please spread the word. You still have time to register. Please spread the word far and wide. And thank you, Student Minister Dr. Ava Muhammad, and all of those with you who are putting on this master class for us. Also, we have, and you can register, registration is only $25. Also, let's get it clean. We invite you to our YouTube channel. It is a beautiful initiative out of the women's class, the MGT and GCC of the Nation of Islam. There it is. LJ, okay? Let's get it clean. The women of the Nation of Islam invite you to journey step by step on how to get every inch of your home spotless in a simple, inexpensive, and safe way. And can we show also the beautiful sisters? There's so many sisters that are on camera that are they're bright, they're energetic, and they make me want to clean up. They make it look so much fun. There is our sister Taliba, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, this is a did you know. I learned so much. They're giving us so much information about cleaning, even right down to how to avoid toxic products. And so we're getting the house clean, but sometimes we're using products that are bad for our health. The sisters go into all of this. So please subscribe to this exciting YouTube channel, share the great news, visit the bright and beautiful website. It's at l-gic.com. Let's get it clean on YouTube. So grab your glove and let's get it clean. And with that, I want to pass over. Let me make sure that I have covered all of my bases so that I can present to you the beautiful, dynamic Sister Anissa Muhammad. Yes, indeed. So here she comes. Sister Anissa is a public health advocate. She is a coordinator for our Nation of Islam Western Region Ministry of Health, and many more great things she does for us. Sister Anissa, thank you for covering down so that this liberated sister can take a much needed break to focus on some of these pressing, beautiful events that we have coming up. And the theme for this series, and thank you for being a part of it, is Liberating Sisters One Voice at a Time.
Yes.
Sister Anissa, thank you. For Felicia, the Poetess Morris, thank you. And Liberated Sisters, let's continue and show her some love. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Here is Sister Anissa Muhammad. Sister Anissa, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Sister Charlene. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Look at you. You are gorgeous, stunning. Look at that.
I am a reflection of you. I'm a reflection of that beautiful sister in the booth, Sister Felicia, the Poetess Morris. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, listening audience. I am so pumped about and feel honored and just so privileged and very blessed to be able to stand in the shoes of such a mighty, liberated sister, Sister Charlene Muhammad. And it came as a shock to me when she asked me to cover down for her. And I got your back, sis. I got your back, right? So all praises be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes,
you and Brother Lawrence, great show. I'm going to go and now support you online. But thank you, sister, and may Allah bless you with success. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And again, thank you, sis. Be blessed. Be safe. All praises be to Allah. Again, I open up in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful. I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and I am so grateful to be here this morning. For the next 4 weeks, as Sister Charlene stated, I will be covering for her on Liberated Sisters. And because of what's going on in society today, I chose the topic of dealing with stress. Mind, body, and spirit. So today's topic is stress and its effect on the mind, right? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that all, not some, not most, but all sickness and disease starts first in the mind. And this is the foundation of the premise of mining the mind to explore how we think and what we think and its effect on the mind, the body, and the spirit. But before we delve into today's topic about how stress affects the mind, I want to share with you just a couple of bullet points, because we have, or we are, especially in the medical profession, and those that don't may not know and understand, the mind and the brain are not the same. The mind is housed in the brain, and they work cohesively to produce an end. However, God did not create us to live in squalor. He did not create us to have to undergo constant daily societal pressures. And all of these things add stress to us. So some of these bullet points that I want to share with you before we invite our next guest speaker and before we get into the topic as a whole, I just want to share with you that the brain is physical. The mind is mental. The brain is material and is something tangible, something that you can touch. If a coroner were to cut an incision across here, peel back the skull, take a sawbone and cut your skull open, you can take your skull out, your brain out, and actually hold it in your hand. But if you continue to cut on that brain, you will never find the mind, because the mind is not something that you can put your hands on. The brain has nerve cells and blood vessels. The mind does not. The mind occupies space. Let me retract that. The brain has shape and it takes up space. The mind occupies space, but the power of the mind is limitless. So you can say in a sense that it does not have shape, because you cannot contain the power of the mind, not in one spot. The mind is more about how one understands and responds to stimuli, internal and external, and it is also a level of mental consciousness. Diseases and dysfunctions of the brain can be tested diagnostically, but there are no diagnostic tests to find out what's going on in a person's mind or if that person actually has a mental problem. But the power of this topic is so dynamic, because as many differences that the brain and the mind have, they both travel at the same rate of speed. The nerves and synapses in the brain travels at 24 billion miles per second, and so does thought. And thought is housed in the mind. You can see what somebody is thinking through their actions, which is why we're into this subject of mining the mind, right? So before we get into introducing a dynamic brother, and we're getting to know one another through our work with Repair of the Black Family anthology book by being two of the co-authors, I want to talk to you a little bit about what mining the mind is. To mine something means to gain access to valuable materials. When you are in a mine, you are taking ownership of yourself. Sister, if you can put up the image so that they can actually see. There we go. Thank you, Sister Felicia. So when you are mining something, you have to dig deep, right? You have to go, and a mine is actually a subterranean passage under an enemy position. It is also how you gain access to a rich source of supply of something. Mine, as an adjective, means something that belongs to me. And mine needing something means to dig deep to gain access or to cause the collapse of the enemy position. Why do I keep bringing up that enemy position? Because growing up Black in America, we have been conditioned to think certain things about ourselves that are not true. We've been taught that we are niggers and Negroes. We have been taught that our forever position in life, we started out as jungle bunnies and we're going to be remaining as slaves for the rest of our life. That's not true. So we have to dig deep into the mind of ourselves so that we can uproot this false data. That's the enemy position that we have to conquer. The false data that we have been given for over 400 years. The mind, M-I-N-D, is a healthy condition of mental faculties. As a verb transitive, the word mind means to become aware of something, to notice something, to give attention to give protective care to. It's like holding a valuable egg that you don't want cracked. And if you want to heal the mind, you have to dig into the mind of yourself. To heal is to restore to health. It is to cause an undesirable condition to be overcome. It is to return to its original purity, its original strength, and integrity. Before we were brought here in chattel slavery, we owned great civilizations on the continent, not on the continent, on the planet, right? So we are in dire need of repair. That's why this anthology of repair of the Black family is so very, very important, because it shares stories about how individuals had their mind in order for them to break free and become liberated. With that being said, I want to give you a scenario of how we have been deceived and given a misshapen picture of the reality that we're dealing with. Suppose you have an individual that is suffering from depression, and they're going to see a therapist. They're going to see their primary care doctor. They're taking medication to relieve them of the depressive state. Yes? But the issue with that is this person has been going to the same primary care doctor, the same therapist, and taking the same medication for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And they're still saying that I'm depressed. Maybe it's not that you need a doctor. Maybe you don't need a therapist. And from my perspective, in my professional opinion, you may not even need that medication. It is a proven fact that medication, the depressive substances that are prescribed by doctors, actually precipitates and exacerbates the state of depression. So much so that people think about committing suicide while they're taking a medication that's supposed to relieve them from the depression, and that's not what's going on. When a person is depressed, we think poorly of ourselves. And as a thought of us thinking poorly of ourselves, we do things that are diametrically opposed to the mind, the body, and the spirit. For example, you may overeat. You may oversleep. You may undereat. You may undersleep. You may do things that you ordinarily would not do. And we certainly try to self-medicate, because the body that God has given us is our temple, and we have everything that we need. We have everything that we need in order for us to cope with stress. And these things are going to be talked about in the next segment when we're dealing with stress and its effect on the body. But we're talking about neurotransmitters, and we're talking about endorphins and dopamine and all these other chemical processes that happen in the brain when one's state of mind is off balance. But we try to self-medicate. If I'm depressed, I want to be happy, so I'm going to go get me a fifth of whatever. I'm going to smoke me a blunt or whatever. Some people resort to promiscuous activities and promiscuous conduct. Anything to relieve the pain and the stress. However, that person that does that, when we do these things, the depression only gets worse. And I'm quite sure that there's somebody out there that can bear witness to this. I can. I can. Because I was once diagnosed as being clinically depressed. They wanted me to take medication and I refused. Why? Because I know that then and I know now that there is a God that exists in real time that can help you overcome your depression. However, you have to be willing to do the work to mine your mind in order to overcome it. So while we are delving and going into the next segment of introducing our dynamic guest speaker, look, Brother Lawrence Muhammad is an old soul, and his spirit and his knowledge of how the mind works and what it takes to help mind your mind to become a healthier individual is second to none. Brother Lawrence, are you there, sir? He's not on yet? All praises be to Allah. Well, we're going to keep going. When we're talking about digging deeply into ourselves, take the scenario of the depression of an individual. Maybe it's not what you are doing. Maybe it's who you're doing. What is your environment like at home? Do you have a happy home? Are you at peace in your home? There are times, beloved, when the environment that you're living in, if you're coming home and you have a husband that beats you or a woman that emasculates you, when you have children that are out of order, that are threatening your life, these are the realities in our neighborhoods. Our young people are stressed out today because they don't know which way to go. We're not actual real-time contributors to their growth and development. One of the greatest contributing factors to our children being totally stressed out is because unknowingly the parents have tried to prepare them for a world that no longer exists. I was raised in the 1960s, but the future of myself 20 years outside of 1960, my parents couldn't prepare me for that because they did not have the proper knowledge. Our children's mind moves at 24 billion miles per second, and we cannot keep up with them. So we keep them locked inside this box that society has put them in. It's causing them stress. They get into trouble. We get stressed. We get in trouble because of what it is, our overall activity. So when you're mining the mind, you have to consider digging more deeply into yourself. Go to the root cause of what's causing your depression. Dear sister, if you are involved in a not so safe environment, if you're being beaten by your spouse or your significant other, what happened to you in your life that told you it was okay for somebody to treat you like that? Dig deep into your mind. There are ways that we can help you, or that are resources out there to help you go all the way back to the womb, to help you figure out why you do what you do in the way that you do it. That's called mining the mind. When we are able to go inside of ourselves, that means that we are man enough, woman enough, adult enough to take responsibility for our actions. With mining your mind and minding your behavior and how you think, how you act, then what you are doing is taking responsibility. One of the greatest contributing factors also to stress is what you're looking at visually in society. Too many times we spend way too much time on these things right here. You see this beautiful cell phone? We spend thousands of dollars on the latest cell phone, and it serves as a distraction. It's a fantasy world inside this motherboard that's inside this phone. and we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. We pretend that we are someone that we are not. We are able to travel distant places, and because of this, we no longer want to read, and we have fallen into the habit of saying, well, I just got to get it. If I can't get it in 5 seconds, in 2 seconds, in 2 minutes, then I don't want to deal with it. If you want, while we're speed chasing everything on social media, we are missing out on the best element of life, and it's called a book. Books are still being written. And just so you know, listening to an audiobook is not reading. You're still listening to somebody recite something to you, and that's better than not reading. However, nothing beats you reading something for yourself, because that energy from those words will get into the spirit and the mind, and it transcends whatever it is that you have already in your mind, and it has the power to uproot what it is that you think you're looking at. There are many people out there, our young people, according to statistics, who are committing suicide because they're being cyberbullied. Parents are exposing their children to video games. Oh, he's on now? All praises be to Allah. Brother Lawrence. Assalamu alaikum. I'm sorry. One moment, please. Brother Lawrence?
Can you hear me?
We can now, dear brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to reintroduce you. I've been talking about you for about, last 5 minutes maybe? Brother Lawrence Muhammad.
Yes, can you hear me?
All praises be to Allah. Yes, we can. Can you hear me, dear brother?
Oh, thank you for having me.
All
Yeah,
praises be to Allah.
yes, ma'am. It's
Wonderful.
been
All praises be to Allah. Yes, we can. Can you hear me, dear brother?
I can hear you, so I cannot hear you on my phone, but I can hear you on my computer.
All praises to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. It's been
Yes, dear brother.
Brother Lawrence, we're getting feedback from your computer, so can you turn it down or put on some headphones?
Okay. Until we're able to get to tone down the feedback, I'm gonna continue the conversation that I'm having with this beautiful audience. And forgive me, I am a little nervous. This is my first time in front of the camera, but I'm having fun. This is so awesome. This is so great. I left off at talking about how there seems to be a distraction and parents not spending time, even with infants. I see cell phones in front of 2-month-old, 3-month-old, 4-month-old children, babies. And that's how parents are entertaining them when they cry and they want to be held, when they need to be loved. You're giving them a thing, and you're bonding them to a thing, when what that baby needs is human contact. So when they get older and they start to be toddlers and they are kindergarten age and elementary school age, and you're trying to quote unquote regulate your child's behavior, and they're not listening to you because they're not bonded to you. They're not attached to you at all. They're attached to things. So just be mindful of what it is that we're doing when we get a hold of these electronic devices, because the internet and television and the thousands of channels that we have access through cable television, they all serve to be distractions to you. And they, I'm going to say, harden the side of you when you're trying to mine your mind. That image that was up there of mining the mind, there was a guy, a little man, a miner, that was off on the side, digging underneath the earth. Sis, can you pop that image back up there real quick? So you see the miner, and he had to go through the surface of the earth to dig his way to the root of this tree that's over there. What's at the root of the tree? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of who you really are. And you have the loving hands of Almighty God that is nurturing you from the spirit, the mind, and the body. But look at the trunk of the tree. The trunk of the tree is crystal. Crystal changes the energy of who you really are. And if you're going to dig deep into yourself to discover that essence, that animating principle of Almighty God, Allah, then you can travel up the trunk and get the energy from that God that's in you and take it up to the leaves or the brain and be able to regulate your own activity so that you can activate that God power that's within you. And it will be shown through the actions, because now you're able to rearrange the molecules in your own atmosphere so that you can change your own reality. Thank you so much, Sister Felicia. Brother Lawrence? Okay. So that's what mining the mind is. Because you have to go to the heart of who you are. And just like the brain, the heart is a physical organ, and it beats and it regulates the blood flow throughout your body. It helps with working with the lungs. It helps your body to get your body cells to get oxygen from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. But when you take the heart out of the chest or the chest cavity, and you go to try to incise your way into and through the heart to look for the core of the spirit of the human being, you're not going to find that. Thank you. Brother Lawrence?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here finally.
All praises be to Allah. We're happy to have you. Brothers and sisters and listening. Yes, sir. I would like to introduce you, brothers and sisters, to a brother whose thought processes and understanding of the mind and how stress can affect the mind and the actions of an individual. Brother Lawrence is so deep. He is so deep, and I've had the honor of meeting him by working on this dynamic project called Repair the Black Family Anthology, where we have 33 co-authors that are working diligently to help us, the Black family, solve our own problems. We often enough go external, outside sources to tell us what our problems are and what we should do about them. Well, the visionary author, Sister Anissa Muhammad, saw differently. And she pulled us together into one body, and she said, we're going to do this. And by Allah's grace, we have done it. Brother Lawrence, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then take us into what it means to mind the mind as it relates to stress and its effect on the mind.
Oh, great. So, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show, and thank you to Sister Charlene and everyone that's working with you. Thank you for inviting me. Well, my name is Brother Lawrence Muhammad, and I'm a proud member of the Nation of Islam under the guidance and leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm the father of a beautiful daughter. Even though she's 25, I still call her my baby. and by trade, I am a graphics and web designer.
And you are awesome at that, brother. I've seen your work. Praise
Oh,
be to
praise
Allah.
the Lord. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I want to thank you for the subject. This particular subject is very near and dear to my heart. And dealing with the mind, I would like to start off, first of all, with something from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he talks about stress. There are several reasons that we can become stressed as a people. One, he says, stress comes as a result of default in duty. So when we have a mission, when we have an assignment, when it is something that we are supposed to do, something that we are responsible for, if we failed to live up or to take care or handle that responsibility, that can bring on stress on the mind. Living in the world that we live in is automatically stress, just being black in this world that we're living in. And so therefore, we have to contend with being safe on a daily basis, taking care of our families on a daily basis, trying to make progress on a daily basis, and still trying to keep ourselves intact. So just living in this world is stressful. And the minister says that stress creates an imbalance
Yes.
on the mind,
Yes.
on the brain.
Yes.
And in doing that, now we start to not be able to see things properly because of the stress that we have on our minds. And in doing so, we start to make choices and decisions based upon the stress that we are under. And whenever we make choices and decisions under duress, under stress, or even from fear, we usually wind up making the wrong decisions. So to deal with stress, that's a very, very big topic and a big subject. And I believe that by handling stress, we will actually see ourselves be able to make a great leap forward in life.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for that question.
Yes, sir. How will we be able to make this leap by managing our stress?
Well, I'll say this. First of all, that the first thing that we have to do is we absolutely must have a strong connection with our Creator.
Come on now. Yes.
Because I don't care what science we bring up, what data we bring up, or anything else after that, if we do not have a connection with the Creator, then we will continue to be under stress. So as a Muslim, it means that a Muslim is one who is made secure.
Yes.
And so it's not just Muslims, but the righteous. Whether you are a Muslim, a Christian, or whatever your religion is, or even agnostic. If you believe in the supreme being, a higher power, the supreme being of that higher power, we should be in his bosom. And being in his bosom automatically creates a sense of peace, rest, and security for those of us who believe in him. And from that point on, we can start to find a relief of stress. So when we don't have that proper relationship, then we don't know how to handle things, handle society, and the world gets the best of us. And then as the world gets the best of us, we don't have any solution or proper way of handling the world. So that's where the stress starts to mount. And then now all of a sudden we have to worry about finances. We have to worry about our children coming
Yes, we
home
do.
because we don't know if they're going to make it home once they go to school today or go to work today. Now we have all of these things of the world that's coming on us at one time, and we don't have a place of security.
Come on.
So once we have that place of security, which is God himself first and foremost, without that, we will never find the peace of mind and to be able to relieve the stress.
Wow, brother. You said a mouthful. And I told y'all he was deep, didn't I? I guess y'all found that out real quick if you forgot just that fast. You know, Brother Lawrence, I find that conversation that you're having with us right now is so very valuable because it goes back to what mining the mind actually is. You have to go deep within yourself to make that connection and activate that animating principle, which is the God in you, and call upon him day and night to help you to come back to your rightful mind so that you can stand up and take your rightful place. And it's not easy. Unfortunately, in society today, we expect a quick fix to everything.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I done gained 50 pounds. I'm not saying that I actually have. I'm just using that as a scenario, y'all. I done gained 50 pounds and I've been on a diet. I'm on the whatever diet that you're using. And after 1 week, I haven't lost not 1 pound. You get discouraged and then you just resume and your life the way that it is. It didn't take you a week to gain 50 pounds. So you're not going to get rid of it, in a week. So, dear brother, what exactly is the title of your chapter in the wonderful anthology of Repair of the Black Family? Is it talking about minding the mind or is it dealing with stress?
That's a great question. So my chapter title is actually Healing the Wounds Between Parents and Children.
Oh, okay.
And it deals with mental health and mental stress, but it deals with it from a different perspective. So I have a story.
Okay.
And what I do is I bring the reader into my life and let them walk into my shoes so they can see where the stress is, where the worry is, what's going on. Because a lot of times when we talk about mental health and stress and things of that nature, a lot of times we're looking for the medical answer or the scientific answer. But people really sometimes don't understand where you're coming from. And the beautiful thing about this book, this anthology, is that all of the authors take the readers into their shoes.
Come on now,
Let
yes.
you see from their eyes. So you may not read in the book, okay, mental this, that, from a quote-unquote medical perspective or hearing medical type terms. You're going to be engulfed in actual stories, but it's not stories of here's the situation and leave it at that. It's what I realized and the solutions that I was able to apply in order to overcome this. And I believe that's the important part. It's not just a book of problems or situations. It's actually a book of solutions.
Yes.
And so
yes, it is.
My particular chapter, even though it's dealing with parents in general, but my story is in particular with my father. And it's a very, very deep story because there was something that I, as a child, wanted from my father that I never got. But my brothers did. And that created a lot of stress and tension in our relationship. And so my particular chapter is showing that parents and children have to be able to come together and to communicate. sometimes parents are trying to parent so hard and so much that they forget that their child is actually a human being that has feelings, that has emotions. And so sometimes the child forgets that the parents are human beings with feelings and emotions. So if the two are able to express themselves to one another, then I believe that we can have a better relationship within our households.
Brother, you said a mouthful, because as you were speaking, especially the last closing remarks, I have to be transparent and say that I didn't even realize, because I have 4 children, and I didn't realize that children were little people. I looked at them as children, but I didn't look at them as actual people that go through stuff. Because my mentality was, you have everything provided for you. You go to school, you do your homework, you behave yourself, and we cool, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't until my youngest daughter, my 4th child, was 8 years old, and she came home from school one day, and she was upset. And I asked her, so what's going on with you? And she said, I am not having a good day, Mommy. She said, somebody, first when I was on my way to school, a car splashed water on my clothes and it got my clothes dirty. Then I get to school. I wanted to see my teacher, and we had a substitute. Somebody tried to punk me in school, Mommy. And then I thought I was going to have to fight. And I come home and I find out that the dentist pulled my sister's tooth and he hurt her. And I don't like that. I am not having a good day.
Wow.
And I didn't, and to me, it wasn't funny. But I listened to what she said, and it's like, wow. I never realized that children actually process, and they have bad days just like adults. And I remember that's what she told me verbatim. I will never forget that conversation. And we forget that as parents. And I'm guilty of that. And I know that now that my children are adults, because we have individual conversations and collective conversations that sometimes friction pops up because of what we've buried, because of what we've suppressed. And even to this day, I mean, it was something that I myself had to share with my own father. Something that I didn't even realize was stressing me out, and because I had suppressed it, and it was causing stress on my mind, my spirit, and my heart towards my father. And I had to get that off of me by telling him. Right? So that chapter that you wrote, dear brother, can help a whole lot of people out there. Because I know, especially in today's times.
Yes. And the stress, I'm glad you said this, it's the stress that's happening in the world. Now you find parents abusing their children, not because they want to abuse their children, but it's so much stress that they are trying to contend with on a daily basis. And the child is the closest one there that they take that stress out on. So it's really a sad thing, really, that we have to, go through that. But at the same time, I also believe that by people reading this book and reading all of the stories, that it would definitely help someone.
You know what, dear brother? I believe you. Because I know that what you said was a ring of truth in my ears and in my soul. So I know that by purchasing the book, Repair the Black Family Anthology, it has 99 suggestions on the solutions of how we can solve our own problems, like stress among family members.
That's right.
Yes, sir. So, Brother Lawrence, do you happen to have any closing words of what you would like to share with the audience as it relates to mining the mind to relieve stress?
Yes, I would like to say this. Mining the mind, that's an awesome topic, by the way. And it's so deep and it's so heavy, you can actually be on here for weeks and weeks at a time talking about it. But mining the mind, in order to mine the mind, you and I have to understand who we are. And by understanding who we are and whose we are, we can now start the process. But this is the key, and I said this before, the key to mining the mind takes courage. If we do not have the courage to face ourselves, to face our own demons,
come on now, say it,
then we won't be able to mine the mind. The mind is the seat of our emotions. And so if we are afraid to confront ourselves, afraid to look at ourselves, and to be able to look at ourselves and give an honest assessment of ourselves, because, some of us, we don't really tell the truth to ourselves. We say, I'm great, I'm fabulous, but really, at that moment, I'm not. So we have to be open with ourselves and then be able to look and then say, what do I see? Not what do I think, not what I've heard about myself, not what other people have said about me, but what do I actually see about myself that I need to work on, that I need to change for the better. And by doing that, just that in and of itself, being honest with ourselves, will relieve stress. Just starting that process is going to relieve stress.
Yes, sir.
And you couple that with the relationship with the Creator, being open and honest with myself, then there you will see a lot of stress starts to be relieved just from that process.
Oh, praises be to Allah. Not a problem. Brother, I know that this is a podcast, but I have to applaud your words of wisdom because you are so right. And I know that is the title of my chapter, Mining the Mind. And everything that you said is what I had to do to get over, to get through, and to rise and really discover who I am, not who I was, but who I am through God's eyes. Because too often we look at ourselves through the eyes and the lens of the world, and that causes stress because the world told you that you're not nothing.
Yeah. That's right.
But God said, what did the minister say? How can you be nothing? When you were created by a God that took nothing and made everything. And he made you. So, dear brother, I thank you so much for providing us with these few words. You have a wonderful day. Y'all get the book. It's not just a book, it's a mission. Repair the Black Family Anthology. Thank you so much, dear brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, sis.
Woo, that was very powerful, right? So, brothers and sisters, it's about time for us to close out this segment of our program. But I just wanted to share with you that a couple of announcements. We do have Sister Minister Ava's Keep Your Head Above Water masterclass tonight. And the cost is $25. Please subscribe to the MGT YouTube channel called Let's Get It Clean, or L-GIC. You will be amazed at what you see with regard to the differences between disinfecting, cleaning, and sanitizing. All praises be to Allah. And with that being said, I want to share with you something by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a real quick clip on what he says about stress. Thank you. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. You can find that feed on YouTube. Just put in a search the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Okay, yes, ma'am. Our engineer, Sister Felicia, the poetess Morris, she is working it out in that booth today. All right, here we go.
What is this thing called stress? Everybody's stressed out. You got stress? I got stress. You got stress, sister? I got stress. Even these little babies, young children, show signs of stress. You go in your house, I'm talking to the youth now. You hear your mother and her boyfriend, or your mother and your father arguing. You go to your room, if you got a room. You try to close the door. You act like I don't want to hear it. But your mother and your father are fighting. Then your father hits your mother, knocks her down. You hear her scream. You run out of the room. She grabs the butcher knife. You say, "Mommy, don't kill him. Don't kill him, Mommy." Your father smacks her some more. He leaves the house. Your mother's crying, telling you, "I'm going to kill that so-and-so. When he come back tonight, I'll get him. I'll get him." And the child is looking at all of this. And the child feels what? Stress. That's not natural pressure. That is a pressure that the child does not have the knowledge to allow him to handle that. You see what I'm saying? You got circumstances coming up in your life today that you don't have the knowledge to handle. And when those circumstances come up, say you're a devoted husband, you work hard all day, you get sick on the job, you come home unexpectedly and find your best friend in the bed with your wife. Stress. You ain't got the knowledge. You don't have the knowledge of how to deal with that. So you reach for your gun. Because there ain't no knowledge that will help you deal with that. So you get your gun. I know what to do. So you kill your wife. Kill her lover. Now you've made your children orphans, because when you kill the mother, now the father is in jail. And the children got to go from house to house, living in foster homes. But the stress that's on the young is not like the stress that's on the old, because you lived a little bit. But they are just coming to life, and the world is coming down around them. And they have no way of handling the stress. You don't have no way of handling stress, black man. You go to get a job and you got it. You get married, your wife is looking for you to bring the money home. You get busted 5. You come home, you tell your wife, I got 5 today, baby. You got 6 children. You wonder where your next meal is coming from. Social Security or welfare checks. You have to go down and stand in line and suffer the indignities of people questioning you and talking to you like, what are you doing here? You gotta suffer all that indignity just to get a doggone check. And when the check comes, it's not enough to do anything with. So you're stressed out. You're stressed. And the more you're under this stress, your physical body begins to deteriorate under that stress. See? Yes, sir. The incapacitating effect of stress creates a need, a dependence on things outside of self. Are you listening? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The body responds to stress normally by producing natural chemicals which have the same properties as morphine and heroin. Yes. The body produces this. Yes. Listen, the body, I'm going to say it again, yes. Right from the brain, when the stress is normal, the brain says, my man needs to cool out. Yes. Sister, you need to just cool out. Yes. So the brain manufactures chemicals which have the same properties as morphine and heroin. It calms you down, it sedates you naturally. But if the body's stress response is exhausted, that system that is to give you what you need, if that system is exhausted, then the person has to look outside of himself, yes, to quiet himself or to comfort himself in a time of stress. Look, black man and black woman, it is unquestionable, says the Urban League in their State of Black America, it is unquestionable that black Americans suffer an inordinate amount of stress. We can therefore speculate, they do, but I say it with truth, that black people are disproportionately represented among drug-dependent users because of unbearably high stress. It's stressful to be black in a white man's world. It's stress, man. When you got to go to school and learn something about white people and learn nothing about yourself, that's stress, man. Let me tell you. Y'all all right?
The views expressed on today's show are the views of the guest programmer and not the views of Liberated Sisters host and producer, or Morris Media Studios, or Morris Media Studios engineer. The information, including but not limited to text, graphics, images, and other material contained during the show, are for informational purposes only. No material used in today's broadcast or on Liberated Sisters is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any question you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new health healthcare regimen, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on our broadcast or on Liberated Sisters, and this is including mental, physical, and spiritual health.